Mr. Mahoney?
I'll nominate Richard Brown, City Manager of East Providence, Rhode Island.
Mr. Brown?
I'll nominate Mark Stankiewicz, Town Manager in Stoughton.
You have two nominations. Discussion? And then we're just going to vote them by name. Is that it? Oh, okay. All those in favor?
John Levin.
I'm sorry.
Culmination of a 6-month process. Started off with 35 applications. And we came to a final 3, I believe, a week ago, Thursday night. So these 3 individuals survived a rigorous process, screening committee, etc., to get to where they were able to come in here and sit down and essentially field some questions for roughly an hour. A give and take, if you will. 3 capable individuals, very capable. And I couldn't make this decision based on a 45 or 50-minute back and forth, which in effect the questions weren't too probing. To a certain extent they were softballs, nothing that these individuals couldn't handle. I'm trying to weigh my decision towards the resume, and Mr. Brown goes back to 1975. Now Mr. Sylvia essentially cut his teeth on the taxpayer's dollar in Plymouth, Massachusetts. And if you look at Mr. Brown's resume, it goes back to 1975, and in 1984, at roughly the same age that Mark assumed the position here in Plymouth, he assumed the position in Petersburg, Virginia. So he has a quarter of a century of being the top dog in the communities. Petersburg, Virginia, 8 years. New London, Connecticut, 14 years, and now on to East Providence. I went back over the weekend. I watched the interviews again. And it's my belief that if we just put him up to the top and we pair him with Mr. Ricky, we have a very formidable duo up on the 3rd floor. Only of the 3 candidates who wants to come and move to town immediately. Left Petersburg, Virginia, New London, Connecticut, better financial shape when he left than when he arrived. And I just want to be able to tap into that wealth of experience.
I've also made some calls and I've also received some calls. I can understand Mr. Mahoney's feelings about Mr. Brown, because in the initial round of interviews, I felt the same way. I felt Mr. Brown rose right to the top. But then the second round of interviews came, and I know it's a difficult procedure. Sitting over there being grilled by your 4 potential bosses, and I understand that there could be some, a little bit of nervousness. I can understand that, but what concerned me was, from the first round of interviews to the second round of interviews, both Richard Brown and Richard Montori struck me as being more nervous. And as John said, we didn't really ask them rocket science questions. We asked very general questions. Nothing that should have elicited a negative, any negative connotation. Nothing that should have caused any nervousness, but I noticed a perceptible difference from the first round to the second round of interviews. However, when it came to the 3rd candidate, Mark Stankiewicz, there was virtually no difference in the interview from the first time before the screening committee to the second time before the board here. He was very quick to answer. He was very confident in his answers. He seemed very at ease. So that made a distinct impression to me. Is there a little bit less experience? Yes, there is. There is. No question about that. But that's not enough to sway my thinking. What I see, and God knows I could be wrong, I've been wrong before, and I'll certainly be wrong again. I hope not this time, but what I see is, I see the first two candidates almost being stodgy and almost like wooden in their presentations. Wooden as in W-O-O-D-E-N, in case my pronunciation isn't too good or the speaker isn't picking me up what I'm saying. I see stiffness, whereas when Mark was there, Mark Stankiewicz, he was at ease. The answers just flowed. Now, another thing that's causing my decision, the first two candidates had extensive experience with city council type forms of government. Candidate number 3, Mark Stankiewicz, had experience with open town meeting and representative town meeting, and they're two distinctly different animals. I think he would be a better fit for our town.